chosen one. Have you ever walked into a room and felt the atmosphere shift before you even said a word? It is a subtle moment, almost impossible to describe, yet you know it when it happens. Conversations pause for a second. A few people glance in your direction. Some seem curious about you without understanding why. Others suddenly grow quiet, guarded, or strangely distant. Nothing dramatic takes place, yet the energy in the room feels different the moment you arrive. You may have experienced this more times than you can count. You do not try to draw attention to yourself. You are not the loudest person in the room, and you are not searching for recognition. Yet somehow people still notice you. There is something about your presence that makes others aware of you, even when you are simply standing quietly in the background. Some individuals feel comfortable around you almost immediately, as if they sense calmness or clarity in your energy. They open up to you quickly, sometimes sharing thoughts or feelings they would normally keep hidden. At the same time, not everyone responds the same way. There are moments when someone seems uneasy around you for no clear reason. A person who was speaking confidently a moment earlier suddenly becomes careful with their words. Another individual may avoid eye contact or keep a certain distance. These reactions can feel confusing, especially when you know you have done nothing to provoke them. Yet deep inside, you may sense that something about your presence affects people in ways that cannot easily be explained. For many chosen individuals, this experience is not about ego or personal importance. It is not about being better than others or trying to stand out. Instead, it often reflects something much deeper that has been forming quietly within you over time. When a person grows spiritually and begins to walk closely with God, their inner world starts to change. Their thoughts become clearer, their intentions more honest, and their actions more aligned with truth. That kind of alignment creates a presence that people can feel, even if they cannot describe it in words. Over time, that inner alignment shapes the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, and even the silence you bring into a room. It becomes a kind of spiritual clarity that naturally draws attention without effort. Some people feel encouraged by it, others feel challenged by it, and many simply sense that there is something different about you. In this video, we are going to explore why the Chosen One carries an aura that cannot be ignored, why people respond to that presence in such different ways, and what this unique presence actually means for your spiritual journey and purpose. If this message resonates with you, take a moment to like and share this video so it can reach other chosen ones who may need to hear it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for more messages that support and strengthen your path. The presence that many people notice around the Chosen One often begins with something that is not visible from the outside. It does not start with appearance, status, or the way someone tries to present themselves. It begins with a quiet alignment that forms deep within a person's inner life. This alignment develops when a person's thoughts, actions, and values gradually begin to move in the same direction instead of pulling against each other. Many people in the world experience a constant inner conflict. They may think one thing, say another, and act in a completely different way. This kind of internal contradiction creates tension that others can often sense, even if they cannot identify the source. Words may sound confident, yet something about the tone feels uncertain. A smile may appear friendly, yet the energy behind it feels forced. When a person is divided within themselves, that division subtly shows in their presence. The Chosen One often goes through a long process of confronting this inner division. It rarely happens quickly or easily. There are seasons of reflection where difficult truths must be faced. There are moments when habits, attitudes, or patterns must be examined honestly. These seasons are not comfortable, but they are necessary. Over time, they begin to shape a person into someone whose inner world becomes more consistent and more truthful. When a person begins to live in alignment with their deeper values and faith, something remarkable happens. Their thoughts, their words, and their actions start to support each other rather than contradict each other. Instead of living in constant tension, they begin to move with clarity. This clarity creates a stability that others can feel almost immediately, even if no one mentions it out loud. Faith often plays a central role in forming this alignment. When someone learns to trust God's guidance and place their life within a larger purpose, many of the anxieties that once created confusion begin to settle. The chosen one may still face challenges, but they approach those challenges with a sense of direction rather than chaos. This faith does not remove every difficulty, but it creates a foundation strong enough to support a calm and steady presence. Spiritual discipline also contributes to this transformation. Practices such as prayer, reflection, self-examination, and humility slowly shape a person's character. Over time, these practices refine the way someone responds to pressure, disappointment, or conflict. Instead of reacting impulsively, the chosen one learns to respond with thoughtfulness and restraint. That quiet discipline becomes part of their energy, and people around them begin to notice it. What others often perceive as an aura is frequently the natural result of this internal consistency. When someone's inner life is ordered and aligned, their presence carries a sense of authenticity. They do not need to convince others that they are sincere. Their sincerity becomes evident through the way they carry themselves. Their words feel grounded, their silence feels comfortable rather than awkward. Even their movements can appear calm and deliberate. People tend to respond strongly to authenticity because it is relatively rare. In environments where many individuals are performing roles or trying to maintain certain appearances, encountering someone who feels genuine can be striking. The chosen one may not be attempting to stand out at all, yet their authenticity naturally attracts attention. Some people feel curious about it because they recognize something real. Others feel reassured by it because they sense honesty and stability. At the same time, authenticity can sometimes challenge those who are not ready to face their own inner contradictions. When someone who lives with integrity enters a space where others are used to compromise or pretense, the difference becomes noticeable. This contrast can make certain individuals uncomfortable, even if they cannot fully explain why. The chosen one has not done anything wrong, yet their presence quietly reveals the difference between alignment and confusion. This is why the aura of inner alignment is not something that can be manufactured or imitated for long. It is not created by trying to appear confident or spiritual. It is the byproduct of a life that has been shaped by honesty, growth, and faith over time. Attempts to imitate this kind of presence without the inner transformation behind it often feel artificial. People may not be able to articulate the reason, but they can sense the difference between something genuine and something performed. The chosen one usually does not become aware of this aura immediately. In many cases, they spend years simply trying to understand themselves and remain faithful to their values. They may not realize that the internal work they are doing is gradually forming a presence that others can feel. From their perspective, they are simply trying to live truthfully and walk closely with God. Yet the world often notices the results of that quiet work before the chosen one does. People may comment that there is something calming about being around them. Others may seek their advice or trust their judgment, even when they have only known them for a short time. These reactions are not the result of deliberate influence. They arise because alignment creates a kind of clarity that people instinctively respect. It is also important to understand that this presence does not mean the chosen one is perfect. Alignment does not remove every flaw or mistake. What it does create is honesty about those imperfections. Instead of hiding weaknesses or pretending to be something they are not, the chosen one learns to face their limitations with humility. That humility strengthens authenticity rather than weakening it. In many ways, the aura people notice is simply the outward reflection of a person whose inner life has become more coherent. When the mind, heart, and actions begin to move together under the guidance of faith, the result is a presence that feels stable and real. It does not need to announce itself loudly because its strength comes from quiet consistency. Over time, this alignment becomes one of the most recognizable characteristics of the chosen one. It shapes the tone of their voice, the patience in their responses, and the calmness they bring into difficult situations. Others may describe it as wisdom, peace, or strength. Whatever words they choose, they are responding to the same underlying reality, a person whose inner life has been brought into harmony. That harmony is the foundation of the aura people notice. It is not mystical in the sense of being mysterious or magical. It is the natural result of a life that has been shaped by truth, discipline, and faith. When those elements come together, they create a presence that does not need to compete for attention. It simply exists, and people cannot help but sense it. In the previous section, we explored how the aura surrounding the chosen one often grows out of inner alignment. When a person's thoughts, values, and actions begin to move together under the guidance of faith, their presence naturally becomes calm, grounded, and authentic. This inner harmony does not stay hidden within a person's private life. It quietly influences the atmosphere around them. People may not know how to explain it, but they feel it. And that is where another interesting dynamic begins to appear. While some individuals feel unsettled by the clarity carried by the chosen one, others experience the opposite reaction. Instead of discomfort, they feel drawn closer. Something about your presence feels safe, steady, and strangely reassuring to them. These individuals may find themselves opening up to you faster than they normally would with someone they have just met. They may share their struggles, ask for your thoughts, or simply linger in conversation longer than expected. This reaction often happens because many people in the world are quietly searching for truth. They may not use that word directly, and they may not even fully recognize what they are seeking. But deep within them, there is a desire for something genuine. Life can often feel noisy and confusing, filled with mixed signals, pressure, and uncertainty. In the middle of that confusion, encountering someone who carries a sense of calm clarity can feel incredibly refreshing. The chosen one often becomes that unexpected point of calm in the lives of others. Your presence may communicate something that words alone cannot easily express. People sense that you are not constantly competing for attention or trying to prove yourself. There is a steadiness in the way you listen and a sincerity in the way you speak. Even when you say very little, the atmosphere around you can feel more grounded. For someone who has spent years navigating environments filled with tension or insincerity, that calm energy can feel deeply comforting. They may not understand exactly why they feel more relaxed around you, but they sense that they can lower their guard. In a world where many people feel the need to protect themselves emotionally, that sense of safety becomes incredibly valuable. Sometimes this attraction appears in small and subtle ways. A coworker might choose to sit near you during a meeting without really knowing why. A friend may call you during a difficult moment simply because they feel that you will understand. Even strangers occasionally begin conversations with you in unexpected places. These interactions can seem random, yet they often follow a similar pattern. People recognize a certain steadiness in your presence, and they are naturally drawn toward it. What they are sensing is not necessarily something mystical or dramatic. More often, they are recognizing sincerity. When a person lives with internal alignment and spiritual clarity, their emotional signals become easier to read. Their reactions are not constantly shifting according to pressure or social expectations. Instead, their responses reflect honesty and integrity. This consistency creates trust, even when that trust forms very quickly. For individuals who are searching for direction or reassurance, this kind of presence can be deeply inspiring. They may see in you a reflection of the stability they hope to find in their own lives. Without realizing it, they begin to view your calmness as evidence that a more grounded way of living is possible. In this way, the chosen one sometimes becomes a quiet reminder that growth and transformation can happen. Another reason people feel drawn to the chosen one is emotional strength. Emotional strength does not mean the absence of pain or struggle. In fact, many chosen individuals have walked through difficult seasons that required patience, reflection, and faith. Those experiences gradually develop resilience. Instead of becoming hardened by hardship, the chosen one often learns to respond with compassion and understanding. Others can sense this emotional maturity almost immediately. When someone speaks to you about a personal challenge, they may notice that you listen without judgment. Your responses may be thoughtful rather than reactive. Even when you offer guidance, you do so with humility rather than superiority. This balance of strength and empathy creates a rare combination that people naturally respect. Because of this, people who are going through uncertain periods in their lives may feel particularly drawn to you. When they encounter someone who appears steady during difficult circumstances, it gives them hope that stability is possible. They may not consciously think of you as a guide or mentor, yet they instinctively value your presence during moments when they feel overwhelmed. It is important to understand that this attraction does not mean you must carry the responsibility for everyone's struggles. The role of the chosen one is not to solve every problem that appears in front of them. Rather, your presence itself often becomes the encouragement others need. The calmness you carry reminds people that clarity and faith can exist even in the middle of uncertainty. At times, people may tell you directly that they feel better after speaking with you. They may say that conversations with you help them think more clearly or feel more hopeful. Other times, the impact will be quieter. Someone may simply thank you for listening, or they may return later to tell you that your words helped them during a difficult decision. These moments can seem small, but they often reveal the influence of a steady presence. It is also worth noting that the people who feel drawn to you are often those who are already moving toward growth in their own lives. Individuals who are seeking honesty, healing, or deeper faith tend to recognize those qualities in others more easily. When they encounter someone who embodies those values, they feel a natural connection. This connection does not happen because you are attempting to attract followers or admiration. In many cases, the chosen one is simply living according to their values and focusing on their own spiritual path. The attraction forms naturally because authenticity resonates with those who are looking for something real. Over time, you may begin to notice that certain types of people consistently appear in your life. Many of them are searching for encouragement, direction, or reassurance. Some may remain in your life for years, while others may only cross your path briefly before continuing on their journey. In both cases, the encounter often leaves an impression. The calm clarity you carry becomes a small light in moments when others are struggling to see clearly. Even if you never intend to influence anyone, the steadiness created by your inner alignment quietly speaks for itself. And for those who are searching for truth, that presence can feel like a rare and valuable discovery. In the previous section, we explored why certain people feel naturally drawn to the presence carried by the chosen one. When someone walks with calmness, sincerity, and emotional clarity, those who are searching for truth often recognize it immediately. They feel safe in that presence, and sometimes even inspired by it. Yet the story does not end there. The same qualities that attract some individuals can create discomfort in others. This contrast is one of the most confusing experiences many chosen individuals face. You may notice that while some people feel relaxed and open around you, others appear tense, guarded, or even irritated without any obvious reason. Conversations may become awkward. A person who was friendly before may suddenly create distance. Occasionally, someone might criticize you or misinterpret your intentions, even though you have done nothing to provoke them. At first, these reactions can be difficult to understand. It may lead you to question yourself or wonder whether you unknowingly said something wrong. However, the deeper explanation often lies not in your actions, but in what your presence reflects back to the people around you. Authenticity has a powerful effect on social environments. When a person lives with honesty and internal alignment, their presence quietly highlights the difference between authenticity and pretense. Many people in the world rely on carefully constructed roles or protective masks to navigate daily life. These masks are not always malicious. Sometimes they are simply the result of fear, insecurity, or past experiences that taught someone to hide their true thoughts and emotions. When someone who lives behind those masks encounters a person who is deeply authentic, the contrast can feel uncomfortable. The chosen one does not need to challenge them directly. The mere presence of sincerity can bring attention to the difference between living truthfully and maintaining a protective image. Even if no words are spoken about it, the comparison exists. For individuals who are not ready to face that contrast, the easiest response is often avoidance. They may withdraw from conversation or reduce the amount of time they spend around you. This reaction is not necessarily conscious. Many people simply follow the instinct to move away from situations that make them uneasy. From your perspective, it may seem sudden or confusing, but from their perspective, it feels like a way to restore emotional comfort. In some situations, this comfort can also express itself through criticism. When someone feels exposed by authenticity, they may attempt to reduce the tension by questioning or dismissing the person who represents that authenticity. Small comments may appear about your personality, your choices, or the way you carry yourself. These remarks may seem disproportionate to the situation because they are not really about the surface behavior being criticized. What is often happening beneath the surface is a psychological defense. By focusing attention on you, the other person temporarily avoids examining the feelings that your presence stirred within them. It becomes easier to label the chosen one as unusual, overly serious, or different than to confront the deeper question of why authenticity feels uncomfortable. Another common reaction is emotional distance. Some individuals may remain polite and respectful, yet they maintain a certain barrier in their interactions with you. Conversations remain superficial, and the relationship never moves beyond a certain level of depth. Again, this distance is rarely about hostility. More often, it reflects a subtle recognition that being around you invites a level of honesty they may not yet feel ready to embrace. It is important to remember that none of these reactions necessarily mean that someone is a bad person. Human beings develop protective patterns for many reasons. Experiences of disappointment, betrayal, or insecurity can lead people to build emotional defenses that feel necessary for survival. Those defenses often remain in place long after the original circumstances have passed. When the chosen one enters such an environment, the presence of calm authenticity can unintentionally challenge those defenses. It invites a different way of interacting, one that is based on openness and sincerity rather than protection. For some people, this invitation feels liberating. For others, it feels threatening because it asks them to lower the walls they have relied on for years. The chosen one must learn not to interpret every uncomfortable reaction as a personal rejection. In many cases, the discomfort you observe is simply a reflection of internal conflict within the other person. Your presence becomes a mirror that reveals something they are not ready to see clearly yet. That mirror effect can create tension, even if your intentions are peaceful. Over time, many chosen individuals begin to recognize these patterns more easily. They notice that the reactions they receive from others often reveal more about the emotional state of those individuals than about their own behavior. When someone responds with warmth and curiosity, it often indicates openness to growth. When someone responds with discomfort or criticism, it may signal unresolved struggles within their own inner life. Understanding this dynamic can bring a sense of relief. Instead of constantly questioning yourself, you begin to see that the variety of reactions you receive is part of a larger process. Your presence interacts with the inner worlds of the people around you, and each person responds according to their own level of readiness for honesty and reflection. This realization also encourages patience and compassion. The chosen one does not need to confront or expose anyone. Your role is not to force others to change or to demand that they accept your presence. Growth happens at different speeds for different people. Some individuals may initially feel uncomfortable, but later come to appreciate the sincerity they once resisted. In many cases, time softens these reactions. As people observe that your authenticity is consistent and not driven by pride or judgment, their perception may gradually shift. The qualities that once felt intimidating may begin to appear reassuring instead. However, this transformation cannot be rushed. It depends entirely on the personal journey of the individual involved. The important lesson for the chosen one is to remain steady in your alignment. The presence you carry was not developed to gain universal approval. It was shaped through faith, reflection, and the desire to live truthfully. If you attempt to hide that authenticity in order to avoid making others uncomfortable, you risk losing the very clarity that defines your path. Instead, the healthier response is quiet confidence. Allow people to respond in their own ways while you remain grounded in your values. Some individuals will move closer, recognizing the sincerity they have been searching for. Others may maintain distance until they are ready to confront their own reflections. Both reactions are part of the same reality. The aura of the chosen one does not exist to please everyone. It exists as the natural expression of a life that has chosen alignment over confusion and honesty over performance. When that presence enters a room, it inevitably reveals something about the people who encounter it. And that revelation, whether welcomed or resisted, is often the reason why your presence cannot easily be ignored. In the previous section, we explored why some individuals feel uncomfortable in the presence of the chosen one. Authenticity has a way of revealing contrasts that many people would rather not confront. When someone carries a calm and sincere presence, it can unintentionally expose the difference between honesty and performance. For some people, this creates distance or criticism. Yet these reactions also reveal something else about the chosen one. The very presence that triggers such responses often carries a form of influence that does not rely on control, pressure, or loud displays of confidence. This influence can be described as a quiet authority. Unlike the authority many people are familiar with in the world, the authority carried by the chosen one is not built on status, titles, or the ability to dominate a conversation. It does not come from speaking the loudest or from constantly asserting one's importance. In fact, the chosen one often appears more reserved than many others in the room. Yet when they speak, people tend to listen. When they remain silent, their silence still feels meaningful. This form of authority grows out of inner clarity. When a person spends years refining their character, aligning their actions with their beliefs, and walking closely with faith, something begins to settle within them. Their decisions become less driven by impulse and more guided by principle. Their words are not spoken to impress others, but to express what they genuinely believe to be true. Over time, this consistency forms a presence that feels grounded and reliable. People instinctively recognize reliability, even when they cannot explain why. When someone speaks with intention and honesty, their words carry a different weight than casual conversation. The chosen one often does not speak frequently in every discussion, but when they do contribute, their words tend to feel thoughtful and measured. Others notice that what is said is not exaggerated or performed. It reflects a genuine perspective shaped by reflection and experience. Because of this, people may begin to look toward the chosen one during moments of uncertainty. In group settings, individuals sometimes glance in your direction to see how you respond to a situation. They may ask for your opinion, even if you are not the most senior or experienced person present. This response is not always conscious. It simply arises from the perception that your perspective is steady and sincere. Quiet authority also reveals itself through restraint. In environments where many people compete for attention, there is often a pressure to speak quickly, react immediately, or assert dominance in conversation. The chosen one tends to resist this pattern. Instead of reacting impulsively, they pause, observe, and respond carefully. This restraint communicates confidence because it shows that a person does not feel threatened by silence or disagreement. Silence itself becomes part of this authority. Many people feel uncomfortable with silence because they associate it with weakness or uncertainty. The chosen one often experiences silence differently. Silence becomes a space for thought, reflection, and clarity. When someone is comfortable with silence, it signals that they do not rely on constant noise to maintain their presence. Others can sense this composure, and it naturally commands respect. Another aspect of quiet authority is the absence of constant self-promotion. Individuals who rely on external recognition often feel the need to repeatedly prove their value. They highlight achievements, defend their reputation, or correct every perceived misunderstanding. The chosen one typically moves differently. Their sense of identity is rooted internally rather than in public approval. As a result, they do not feel compelled to prove themselves in every interaction. This does not mean that the chosen one lacks confidence. In fact, the opposite is often true. The confidence carried by the chosen one is steady rather than dramatic. It is not designed to attract attention, but to remain stable under pressure. When challenges arise, this stability becomes visible. While others may react emotionally or defensively, the chosen one often remains calm enough to consider the situation carefully. This composure can have a powerful effect on group dynamics. In moments of tension, People naturally gravitate toward the individual who appears most centered. Calmness becomes a form of leadership because it helps others regain perspective. Even without formal authority, the chosen one may become a stabilizing influence in difficult conversations or uncertain situations. Faith frequently strengthens this quiet authority. When someone believes that their life is guided by a purpose greater than personal recognition, their priorities shift. They are less concerned with winning arguments or protecting their ego. Instead, they focus on truth, integrity, and the long-term impact of their actions. This perspective allows them to remain steady even when faced with criticism or misunderstanding. People often sense this steadiness before they understand its source. They may describe the chosen one as thoughtful, grounded, or wise beyond their years. These descriptions do not necessarily refer to age or experience alone. They reflect the impression created when someone speaks and acts from a place of deep internal alignment. At times, this quiet authority can surprise the chosen one themselves. Because they are not intentionally seeking influence, they may not realize how their presence affects others. They may simply believe they are sharing honest thoughts or responding to situations as best they can. Yet others interpret this honesty as guidance or leadership. This influence must be handled carefully. Quiet authority carries responsibility. When people begin to trust your perspective, your words can shape their decisions or emotional outlook. The chosen one must remain humble and aware of this influence. Authority that grows from authenticity can easily be weakened if it becomes tied to pride or control. Humility protects this authority by keeping it aligned with purpose rather than ego. The chosen one understands that clarity is a gift developed through faith, reflection, and experience. It is not something to be used for personal dominance. Instead, it becomes a way to encourage honesty, calmness, and thoughtful action in the environments where they live and work. Over time, people begin to recognize the pattern. They notice that you rarely seek attention, yet your presence remains noticeable. They see that you do not argue loudly to defend every point, yet your perspective often remains respected. They observe that your calmness persists even when circumstances become difficult. This pattern gradually builds trust. Individuals may not fully understand why they respect your perspective, but they recognize the consistency behind it. Words spoken with intention and honesty become memorable because they are not diluted by constant exaggeration or performance. The quiet authority of the chosen one therefore emerges not from force, but from alignment. It is the natural result of living with clarity, speaking with sincerity, and acting with integrity over time. When these qualities come together, they create a presence that influences others without demanding their attention. And in a world that often associates authority with noise and control, the calm strength of the chosen one stands out precisely because it moves in the opposite direction. It speaks less, but it speaks with meaning. It seeks no stage, yet it remains visible. It does not try to command respect, yet respect gradually forms around it. In the previous section, we explored the quiet authority carried by the chosen one. This authority does not come from titles, status, or the ability to dominate conversations. Instead, it grows from inner clarity, sincerity, and the calm confidence that forms when a person lives in alignment with truth. Yet that clarity does not appear overnight. The presence people notice in the chosen one is not something that develops quickly or easily. It is the result of a deeper process, one that often unfolds quietly over many years. And at the center of that process is the way God shapes a person through experience. For many chosen individuals, the path that leads to this presence includes seasons that feel confusing, lonely, or even painful. These seasons are rarely the ones people would choose for themselves. They may involve isolation, unexpected setbacks, or moments when life feels slower than it should be. At times, the chosen one may look around and feel as though everyone else is moving ahead, while they remain in a place of waiting and reflection. Yet these seasons are rarely meaningless. In many spiritual journeys, periods of isolation create space for something deeper to develop. When a person steps away from constant noise and distraction, they begin to hear their own thoughts more clearly. Questions that once seemed easy suddenly become more complex. Values that once felt assumed must be examined more carefully. This kind of reflection can feel uncomfortable, but it also creates the foundation for real growth. During these quieter seasons, the chosen one often begins to see life differently. Instead of rushing from one achievement to another, they start asking deeper questions about purpose and meaning. They begin to examine the motivations behind their actions and the direction their life is taking. Faith becomes less about outward appearance and more about a genuine relationship with God. This shift from surface belief to deeper understanding gradually reshapes the way they think, speak, and respond to the world. Testing is another part of this process. Challenges often appear at moments when the chosen one believes they have already learned the lessons they needed. Unexpected disappointments may arise, relationships may change, opportunities may close without explanation. At first, these experiences can feel discouraging. It may seem as though progress is being delayed rather than supported. However, testing often reveals something important about character. When circumstances become difficult, the true foundation of a person's faith becomes visible. Do they respond with bitterness or patience? Do they lose direction or continue to trust that their journey still has meaning? These moments of pressure gradually refine the chosen one's perspective. They learn to rely less on immediate outcomes and more on long-term purpose. Over time, these experiences build humility. Humility is not weakness or lack of confidence. Instead, it is the understanding that growth is always ongoing and that no person fully controls the path ahead. The chosen one learns that wisdom does not come from avoiding difficulty, but from learning how to walk through it with faith and reflection. Humility also changes the way a person interacts with others. Someone who has experienced their own struggles is less likely to judge the struggles of someone else. They develop patience when listening to people who are confused or uncertain. They understand that transformation takes time because they have experienced that process themselves. This humility becomes one of the most noticeable aspects of the chosen one's presence. People often describe them as calm or wise, but beneath those qualities is a deeper awareness that life cannot be mastered through pride alone. The chosen one carries the quiet understanding that every person is still learning, including themselves. Another important result of these seasons is resilience. Resilience forms when a person learns to continue moving forward, even when circumstances do not immediately improve. The chosen one may experience moments when their plans fail or their expectations collapse. Yet instead of abandoning their values, they gradually learn to adapt while remaining faithful to their purpose. This resilience becomes part of the aura others notice. When people observe someone who remains steady despite past challenges, it creates a powerful impression. It suggests that their calmness is not accidental. It has been tested and strengthened through experience. That kind of steadiness naturally commands respect because it reflects something deeper than temporary confidence. Faith deepens through this process as well. Early faith often begins with hope and inspiration, but mature faith grows through perseverance. When someone continues to trust God, even during uncertain seasons, that trust begins to shape their character in profound ways. They become less reactive to temporary setbacks and more focused on the larger direction of their life. As faith grows, the chosen one often develops a stronger sense of purpose. They begin to understand that every experience, even the difficult ones, has contributed to the person they are becoming. Moments that once seemed meaningless or painful begin to reveal their role in shaping patience, empathy, and clarity. This gradual transformation is what forms the aura others perceive. The presence people notice is not simply a personality trait, it is the visible result of many invisible processes that have taken place within the chosen one's life. Reflection has refined their perspective, testing has strengthened their resilience, faith has given them direction. When these elements come together, they create a presence that feels both calm and grounded. Others may not know the full story behind that presence, but they sense that it has depth. They recognize that the steadiness they see did not appear suddenly. It was formed through time, experience, and spiritual growth. In many ways, the aura of the chosen one reflects the journey God has led them through. Every season of isolation created space for deeper reflection. Every moment of testing revealed something about character. Every challenge required a renewed commitment to faith. Together, these experiences shaped a person whose presence carries sincerity and quiet strength. The chosen one may not always recognize the significance of these experiences while they are happening. Often, understanding only arrives later, when they look back and see how each season contributed to the person they have become. What once felt like delay or difficulty becomes part of a larger process that refined their character. And this process continues throughout life. The presence shaped by God is never completely finished. Growth continues, lessons continue, and faith continues to deepen. Yet with each season, the chosen one becomes more aligned with their purpose and more aware of the quiet strength that has been forming within them. That quiet strength is what people notice when they encounter the chosen one. It is not the result of performance or ambition. It is the natural expression of a life that has been shaped through reflection, humility, resilience, and faith. And because that presence has been formed through genuine experience, it carries a depth that cannot easily be imitated or ignored. In the previous section, we explored how God shapes the presence carried by the chosen one through seasons of reflection, testing, and growth. The calm strength people notice is not something created quickly or easily. It develops over time through experience, faith, humility, and perseverance. Yet once that presence begins to form, another important reality emerges. Carrying a noticeable spiritual presence is not only a blessing, it is also a responsibility. When others begin to sense something steady or inspiring about you, their reactions naturally change. Some people may look to you for guidance. Others may trust your perspective during moments of uncertainty. Even those who do not fully understand why they respect your presence may still feel influenced by the calmness you bring into a situation. This influence can be subtle, but it is real. And because it is real, it must be handled with care. The chosen one must first understand that this aura is not meant to elevate personal importance. It is easy for anyone to become distracted by attention. When people begin to listen closely to your words or seek your opinion, the temptation to see yourself as more important than others can quietly appear. If this temptation is not recognized early, it can slowly shift the purpose of your presence away from humility and toward ego. Humility, therefore, becomes one of the most important qualities the chosen one must protect. Humility does not mean thinking less of yourself or denying the growth that has taken place in your life. Instead, humility means remembering where that growth came from. The presence people notice is not simply the result of personal effort or intelligence. It is the product of many lessons, many struggles, and the guidance that God provided throughout those experiences. When the chosen one remembers this, their presence remains grounded. They do not feel the need to present themselves as superior or spiritually advanced. Instead, they remain aware that they are still learning and still growing. This attitude keeps their influence healthy because it prevents the aura they carry from turning into a form of quiet pride. Another responsibility of carrying this presence is the way it affects others emotionally. People who feel drawn to the calmness of the chosen one may begin to rely on that presence during difficult moments. They may come to you for encouragement, reassurance, or perspective. While offering support can be meaningful, the chosen one must remain careful not to allow others to place them in a position that belongs only to God. The purpose of your presence is not to become the center of someone else's direction or faith. Instead, your role is to encourage people to reconnect with their own inner clarity and their own relationship with God. When someone speaks with you and leaves feeling stronger or more hopeful, the goal is not that they become dependent on your presence. The goal is that they rediscover their own strength and faith. This perspective protects both you and the people around you. It ensures that influence remains healthy rather than controlling. The chosen one does not seek followers or admiration. Instead, they offer sincerity, honesty, and encouragement in ways that help others grow in their own lives. Remaining grounded also requires self-awareness. The aura people notice can sometimes create expectations that feel heavy or unrealistic. Others may assume that because you appear calm or wise, you must always have answers or never struggle. This expectation can create pressure if it is not handled carefully. The chosen one must remember that carrying a strong presence does not mean becoming perfect. It is still acceptable to experience uncertainty, to learn from mistakes, and to continue developing as a person. In fact, Acknowledging these realities often strengthens humility and authenticity. When people see that your presence comes from honesty rather than perfection, they are more likely to trust it. Another responsibility involves how the chosen one responds to attention. Some individuals may admire your calmness and speak about it openly. Others may compliment the wisdom they see in your words or actions. While appreciation can feel encouraging, the chosen one must learn to receive it with balance. Accepting kind words with gratitude is healthy, but allowing admiration to become the center of identity can quietly shift your focus. The true purpose of the aura you carry is not recognition, it is alignment with God's purpose. As long as that alignment remains the priority, attention from others becomes secondary rather than defining. Maintaining this perspective often requires regular reflection. The chosen one benefits from returning frequently to the practices that shaped their presence in the first place. Prayer, reflection, and moments of quiet evaluation help ensure that humility remains strong. These practices remind the chosen one that their journey is not about maintaining an image, but about continuing to grow in sincerity and faith. Influence also carries responsibility in the way words are spoken. When people begin to trust your perspective, even simple advice can carry significant weight. The chosen one must therefore speak carefully and thoughtfully. Words should be guided by honesty and compassion rather than impulse. Encouragement should uplift rather than control. Guidance should point toward truth rather than personal authority. This careful use of influence is one of the ways humility expresses itself in everyday life. Instead of using presence to dominate conversations or shape outcomes for personal benefit, the chosen one uses it to create clarity. Their words bring calm rather than pressure. Their presence creates space for reflection rather than demanding immediate agreement. Over time, this approach strengthens the positive impact of the aura people notice. Others begin to feel that conversations with you help them think more clearly. They recognize that you are not trying to impress them or gain control of their decisions. Instead, they sense sincerity and respect in the way you interact with them. The responsibility of carrying this presence therefore centers on intention. The chosen one must continually ask why they are speaking, guiding, or offering encouragement. If the intention remains aligned with truth and humility, the influence remains healthy. If the intention shifts toward recognition or control, the clarity of that presence can slowly weaken. Faith plays a crucial role in maintaining the right intention. When the chosen one remembers that their journey is guided by something greater than personal ambition, it becomes easier to remain grounded. Their focus stays on living faithfully rather than appearing impressive. Ultimately, the aura carried by the chosen one is not meant to create distance between them and others. It is meant to reflect a life that has been shaped by honesty, growth, and faith. When humility and responsibility remain at the center of that presence, it becomes something that encourages others rather than overshadowing them. The chosen one therefore carries their presence carefully. They remain aware that influence is not a personal possession, but a reflection of the journey God has led them through. By staying humble, grounded, and aligned with purpose, they ensure that the aura people notice continues to inspire sincerity rather than ego. As we move toward the final part of this message, there is one more stage in the journey of the chosen one that often brings a profound shift in perspective. Up to this point, we have explored how inner alignment forms your presence, why some people feel drawn to it, why others feel uncomfortable around it, how quiet authority naturally emerges from authenticity, how God shapes that presence through seasons of testing, and why carrying such a presence requires humility and responsibility. Yet there is another lesson that many chosen individuals eventually encounter, and it is one of the most liberating realizations of all. At some point in the journey, the chosen one learns to stop trying to be understood by everyone. In the earlier stages of growth, it is natural to want people around you to understand your intentions. When others misinterpret your words or question your motives, the instinctive reaction is often to explain yourself. You may find yourself clarifying what you meant, defending your actions, or trying to show people that your decisions come from sincerity rather than arrogance or distance. This desire to be understood comes from a genuine place. Human beings naturally seek connection and mutual recognition. However, as the chosen one continues to grow, a quiet realization begins to form. No matter how clearly you explain your intentions, not everyone will see your path the same way you do. People interpret the world through their own experiences, expectations, and emotional perspectives. Even when you speak honestly, some individuals will still misunderstand what you mean, because they are viewing your words through a completely different lens. For a long time, this misunderstanding can feel frustrating. You may feel as though you are constantly correcting assumptions or clarifying your choices. Sometimes you might even begin to question whether you should change your approach simply to make others more comfortable. This stage can be emotionally exhausting because it places your sense of peace in the hands of other people's interpretations. Eventually, the chosen one begins to understand something important. Trying to earn universal approval is not only impossible, it also distracts you from your purpose. The more energy you spend attempting to explain every decision or justify every step of your journey, the less energy remains for the work you were meant to do. This realization does not arrive suddenly. It often grows through repeated experiences where explanation fails to change someone's perception. After enough of these moments, the chosen one begins to recognize that understanding cannot be forced. People must arrive at their own understanding in their own time. When this realization settles into your perspective, something inside you begins to relax. You no longer feel the same urgency to correct every misunderstanding. You do not feel compelled to respond to every criticism or assumption. Instead of constantly defending your path, you quietly continue walking it. This shift creates a new form of peace. The chosen one becomes less concerned with how every individual interprets their actions, and more focused on whether those actions remain aligned with truth and faith. Approval from others becomes less central to your sense of direction. What matters most is whether your decisions reflect the purpose God has placed in your life. Letting go of the need to be understood does not mean becoming distant or dismissive toward others. It simply means recognizing the limits of explanation. You can still communicate honestly and respectfully. You can still share your perspective when someone asks. But you no longer feel responsible for controlling how every person interprets your words. This shift often surprises people who observe it from the outside. They may notice that you respond less frequently to criticism or gossip. They may see that you no longer spend time arguing about misunderstandings that once frustrated you. Instead of reacting defensively, you remain calm and continue focusing on your direction. What they are witnessing is the quiet confidence that emerges when someone stops measuring their identity through the opinions of others. The chosen one begins to understand that purpose does not require universal agreement. Many meaningful paths in life appear unusual or confusing to those who are not walking them. Over time, this calm confidence becomes another aspect of the presence people notice around you. Your energy becomes less reactive and more focused. Conversations feel more intentional because you are no longer speaking from the need to prove something. Instead, you speak when there is something meaningful to share, and you remain silent when explanation would serve no real purpose. This stage of growth also reveals an important truth about relationships. When you stop trying to convince everyone to understand you, the people who truly resonate with your sincerity begin to stand out more clearly. Instead of chasing acceptance from every direction, you begin to notice the individuals who naturally recognize your intentions without requiring constant explanation. These individuals may not always agree with every decision you make, but they respect the honesty behind your journey. They listen with openness rather than suspicion. They value your presence, not because you try to impress them, but because they recognize the consistency in your character. At the same time, those who remain determined to misunderstand you gradually lose their influence over your emotional state. Their opinions no longer shape your peace in the same way they once did. You learn to accept that some people may continue to see you through the lens of their own expectations, and that is something you cannot control. What you can control is your commitment to remain aligned with your purpose. When the chosen one reaches this stage, their attention shifts from external approval to internal clarity. Decisions are guided less by social pressure and more by the quiet sense of direction that has developed through faith and experience. In many ways, This stage marks a turning point in the journey of the chosen one. The need to be understood by everyone slowly fades, and in its place emerges a deeper sense of freedom. You are no longer adjusting your path to avoid every misunderstanding. Instead, you move forward with the quiet assurance that truth will reveal itself over time. Ironically, this is often the moment when your presence becomes even more noticeable. When someone is no longer trying to perform for approval, their authenticity becomes even clearer. People sense the difference between someone who is constantly defending themselves and someone who simply lives according to their values. The chosen one, therefore, learns a powerful lesson. Understanding from others is meaningful, but it is not the foundation of your purpose. Peace comes not from convincing everyone to agree with you, but from knowing that your path remains aligned with truth. When that peace becomes stable within you, the pressure to explain every detail of your journey begins to disappear. You move forward with clarity rather than defensiveness. You allow people to interpret your actions in their own ways, while you remain focused on the direction God has placed before you. And in that quiet freedom, the chosen one discovers that the people who are meant to understand your sincerity will eventually recognize it without being persuaded. Chosen one. The aura people notice around you is not something you created to attract attention. It is not the result of performance, strategy, or the desire to stand out in a crowd. What others sense in your presence is something far quieter and far deeper than that. It is the accumulated result of every challenge you have endured, every lesson that reshaped your thinking, and every moment when you chose faith instead of fear, integrity instead of compromise, and truth instead of convenience. Many of the qualities people now recognize in you were formed in seasons that felt invisible to everyone else. They were formed in moments when you were learning difficult lessons about patience, humility, and perseverance. They were formed in times when your path seemed uncertain and when the direction ahead was not clearly visible. During those moments, it may have felt as though nothing significant was happening. Yet those quiet seasons were shaping something profound within you. When a life becomes aligned with purpose and guided by God, it gradually begins to carry a presence that words alone cannot fully describe. That presence is not loud or dramatic. It does not need constant recognition. Instead, it appears through calmness in difficult moments, clarity in confusing situations, and sincerity in the way you interact with others. People may not understand exactly why your presence feels different, but they can sense the steadiness behind it. Some individuals will feel encouraged by that steadiness. They may see in you a reminder that authenticity and faith are still possible even in a world that often feels uncertain. Others may question it or react with hesitation because the clarity they see in you challenges their own assumptions. And there will always be those who simply cannot understand it at all. Yet none of these reactions change the deeper reality of what God has been forming within your life. The aura of the chosen one was never meant to place you above anyone else. It is not a symbol of superiority or separation. Instead, it reflects something much more meaningful. It reflects authenticity in a world that often rewards appearances. It reflects courage in situations where many people choose silence. And it reflects spiritual clarity in environments that are often filled with confusion. Your presence becomes a quiet reflection of the journey you have walked with God. Every lesson you learned, every moment you chose patience over reaction, and every time you continued forward despite uncertainty has contributed to the person you are becoming. Even the difficulties that once felt discouraging have become part of the foundation that supports your strength today. So if you have ever wondered why your presence affects people in ways you never intended, remember that what they are sensing is not something artificial. What they notice is simply the evidence of a life that has been shaped through faith, reflection, and growth. It is the quiet signal that God has been working within your character in ways that cannot always be seen from the outside. The chosen one does not need to announce this presence or defend it. It reveals itself naturally through consistency, humility, and the steady commitment to live according to truth. Over time, the people who are meant to recognize that sincerity will see it clearly, and those who are not ready will continue on their own paths, until their perspective changes. If this message spoke to you today, take a moment to like and share this video so other chosen ones can hear it as well. And be sure to subscribe to the channel for more messages designed to guide and strengthen your journey.